Hey, welcome to the weekly round. So, I'm Mike Turpin. I'm the guy who does this. Today and this week, we're going to talk a little bit about leadership. So, in the last 12 months, we lost 5 guys to suicide. Yesterday, we lost another brother to suicide. He hung himself. Had 2 kids, as were 3 kids, 2 boys, and a little girl. So, if that isn't enough to swallow, you know, which it always is tough. It's just tough. I want to talk about leadership. And through this week, we're going to talk a lot about leadership. We're going to have a lot of guests on. We're going to have a lot of different perspectives. But I want to start with you can't go somewhere if you don't know where you are. You can't go somewhere if you don't know where you are. You don't know where you're going if you don't have a clear path, right? Many different ways of looking at it. So, I was in Iraq. I had one of the most influential leaders ever in my life. And I was walking to work because I enjoyed the adrenaline of getting shot at, bombs falling all around me, and all the craziness, right? And I'm walking up to our working area, and at the time is that he was a gunnery sergeant, and he said, "What are you doing?" It's like nothing but danger around you, and why aren't you traveling with everybody? What if something would happen, and how are you going to defend yourself against all these people? You know, and he's like, wouldn't it make more sense to travel with everybody when you're traveling? Here, I'm like, yeah, just it clears my mind, gets me ready, I enjoy it, blah blah blah. And he says, I get it. I'm not going to argue with you because I get it, completely get it. It makes sense to you, and I understand it. Like, but I want to give you a piece of advice, and you can take this for whatever it's worth. It could be as small, it could be as large, it could be whatever you want it to be. But I'm going to give it to you straight. He said, listen, know where you're going and know how you're getting there. Have a path and go there. And you could take that as advice for tomorrow, or you can take that as advice for the absolute rest of your life. If you don't know where you're going, how are you ever going to get somewhere? And he's right. I think a large part of my generation and the generation underneath me that are catching up to me, right? I think there's a lot of people that just don't know where they're going. And it's no fault of their own. I mean, the world is a very crazy, crazy place. It's unforgiving. Our society in our country is interesting because if you don't know somebody and you're not in the clique, or if you just don't know how to work hard because you've never been taught how to work hard, you're going to be left in the dust. You're going to be living in that house with the roof falling in on itself and scraping by week to week for groceries and be living like that. It's really what we're pumping out in our society, isn't it? We have one extreme who really have no direction. They don't know where they're going. We have another extreme who are so confident in proving other people wrong that they don't even know where they're going. It's so weird. So weird. So weird. So instead of working together and having dialogue, we just get in this huge pot and argue and get ourselves so worked up. And we have individuals not knowing where they're going, not following that path because they don't have a path, and they're eating rope. It's tough. It's tough. Like I said, we've lost 5 friends in the last 12 months. No names, but it's tough. As a military guy, and that's my platform. That's my platform. It's not who I am. It's not my identity, but it's my platform. For those who wonder. As a military guy, my loyalty are to all the people that I served with, comma, are all the people that are serving right now, comma, are all the people that will serve, comma, and all the people throughout the whole entire world who can't protect themselves. That's who I represent. That's who I work for. And I want to have a better life than I did. That's what I work for. That's my path. That's what I'm doing all this crazy stuff for. Yeah, don't get me wrong. When I get the paycheck, I party and get a few beers, and in my case, I'm a whiskey guy. Go to a few games and just enjoy myself. Yeah, that is part of my path. That is part of the show there. But once again, dramatic pause for effect. I'm surrounded by people that have a tough time finding that path. I know my path. I'm trying to get through it. Every day is a fight. Some days better than others. It's tough. I get it. It's also tough when you throw in, you lose parents and you lose friends and can't really get along with wife or boyfriend or husband, children. Children. That's what we're really teaching, right? We're teaching the children, our children. You're teaching your children and trying to instill in them the true leadership. You're trying to teach them to have a path, right? Some morals, a foundation of really what life is all about. That's what leadership starts. Consider this campaign. This is Leadership 101, right? Trying to teach them a path. So let's break down that path for children. Number one, when it's appropriate time to touch themselves and inspect themselves. It's usually day one. When and when not to pick their nose and make sure that thing's clean. School and the ABCs. And who knows what school is now or when this will be out or whatever. Who knows? Who knows? I've tried opening up the Common Core stuff, and I'm trying to teach it to my son, and he's teaching me stuff. So yeah, how to act around school and their friends, and show them the path. And most importantly, they're really starting to get the foundation of the path, but they're learning how to get there and how to maneuver through the path from us, right? It's crazy. And think how many people we have that have children in our lives that have no direction and they're supposed to teach them children. And that's the part of the pro-choice movement that I agree with. Some people, just like there's some people that shouldn't have guns, there's some people that shouldn't have children. Just like you should have a license to get married because you ain't good at it. You should have a license to have a gun. You should have a license to have children. Because if you ain't good at it, you ain't good at it. It's one thing China's figured out. That is what it is. That's my opinion. That's Mike's thoughts. Anyway, back to showing the next generation the path forward, path to making some life for themselves. Not only making a life for themselves, but making a future for others. It's like we are doing. We do things, events, what have you, in the community for the children, setting that example for the children so someday put things together for children, rebuild playgrounds and all that mess. Now, what we all should be doing, right? We all should be doing that. I always wondered that. Long way to go, right? Long way to go. That's my dog. Anyway, sometime this week, we're going to have a youngster on that's in college. I think probably tomorrow, Wednesday. And he's going to give some perspective of leadership, how he sees leadership. And once again, he's 2 generations under me, or 2 decades under me, right? So he's going to give kind of a fresh perspective. And the best part of it is he doesn't see eye to eye with everything that I do. But we're going to have dialogue on what we think and come to some conclusion and some understanding. Let me erase that. Some respectable understanding that we can just walk away from and shake hands. The future is our government. What kind of path is the government, the local government, local Fed, what kind of path forward is that government paving for us? Why is it fair that we have to pay our mortgage, we have to pay our bills, but the idea that we have to have a monthly budget here in our home is non-functional? We don't have to have that, right? It's crazy. Always have to be making that path forward. I think I've said that enough. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We're going to get to a commercial, then we're going to get back to it on the backside.
Beijing has 3 goals working through the university system. The first is to influence the next generation of American leadership and how our rising crop of leaders perceives China. The second is to send Chinese students to American universities to acquire knowledge and skills, and then take that back to China. The third goal of Chinese operations on college campuses is intelligence, to collect sensitive information in research labs, especially at major research universities like Stanford and Harvard University. University presidents know this, and this is one reason why they're underreporting, misreporting, or keeping the names of foreign donors anonymous. They know what the Chinese are doing. They know why the Chinese give them so much money. They know their institutions are vulnerable to Chinese espionage. So why do they allow it? They're effectively inviting the Chinese to come in and steal American research.
All right, we're back. So our guest for the afternoon had a emergency with his wife. We'll have him on tomorrow, and we have a big live stream planned. So it'll be interesting. It'll be fun. So just keep tuned in. Tomorrow, of course, but I'll finish it out today. So we're going to change gears a little bit. I have a pretty weird family. So a few years ago, I had a encounter with my uncle, and he said to me, hey, we're crossing paths, and this is an uncle that we see completely different politically, right? Me, I'm a little more left-leaning conservative, right? If that's a thing, whatever. Everybody comes up with their own little sayings nowadays, or political affiliations. He's far left, right? So we're just crossing paths at a family get-together, and this is pre-Trump, okay? This is like 2015. This is when, in his world, everything is still fine, right? So, or I say to him, man, you're looking good. I don't know if you lost some weight or whatever, but you're looking good. And I don't want to sound gay or anything, but you look great. Oh my goodness gracious. You would think, I'd be bathing in goat baby blood. I don't know. What's the horrible thing nowadays? Oh yeah. I got the full degree from everyone up and down how that was inappropriate, and to me it was just a joke. Like, I'm just like joking with the man. He's a grown man, almost, 1.5 times my age. How is he offended by what I said? It boggled my mind. Anyway, that is one man who does not have a full and clear path of where he's going. It is what it is. I don't have to put anybody's dirt out there because he has definitely enough of it. But once again, we can't say it enough how we have a society with no direction and no clear path on the direction that they don't even know which way they want to go. I get it. When I was 18, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I remember graduating high school and thinking, oh, shoot, I have to get a job and earn a living and get health care, and I don't know any of that stuff. I just learned how to make sure I don't wear flip-flops in a casual, in a semi-formal format, So, I've definitely come a long way. So it's just funny that we have this society that doesn't know where they're going, don't know where they want to go, don't know how they're going to get there, and they blame everyone around them for everything that they're doing or not doing, and expecting the answers just to come to their mailbox. It's crazy. It's a crazy time. In 2000, it was around the time the presidential election was in 2016, and I remember seeing, I'll walk you through an interaction I had with somebody. I remember seeing an individual that got hit by a car when he was about 19 years old, and hasn't worked a day in his life. He's in 2015, 16, he was about 35-ish, maybe 36. And he is saying how great the country's doing. And he's arguing with people on how great the country is. And people are like, blank, because I don't want to put his name out there. Blank, you haven't worked in 18 years. How do you know how the working force is? And he said, I see people. I see, people when I go to get sandwiches, and I see people at the grocery store. Life is pretty good. It's pretty good for everybody. It's not bad. And it took everything in my power just not to say something and get involved in the conversation. Because that's what people that's the stigma nowadays. I used to drive a lot for work, and people would purposely try to hit me, knowing that my vehicle is a work vehicle. Because if they hit me, they can sue and they will win, and they will not work for a long time because they'll just get an insurance check. And you're telling me that mentality in our country isn't incentivized? I see all the time, especially here in Western New York. This person got me 85% more than insurance was going to settle for me. They got me $8.3 billion. How is that not incentivizing somebody to get in a car accident and try to get hurt. You know, especially extremely unwealthy people, right? And that, I say unwealthy people, that has no dogma or any speculation or undertone. That's just people that are poor. I was I've been poor more in my life than I've been wealthy. So I don't want anybody to ever think I'm 41 years old. By no means have I had money for a large portion of my life. I have been dirt ass poor my whole entire life. Christmases getting absolutely nothing. I'm that guy, right? Thanksgivings with, you know, a ham. A ham. You know, maybe. I sporting events that my parents wouldn't show up. My parents don't show up to sporting events. I'm that guy, you know? So any other people that say you need to practice what you preach or whatever other crazy things that you say, you're full of it, because I'm the example. I'm the one who pulled himself out of the cellar and made something of myself. I am the American dream. I'm the example of the American dream. I'm the example. I'm the one who didn't have a path at one point in his life. I'm the one who had zero direction at one point in his life. I had all my wisdom came from other people's moms and dads. The stuff that I push onto my children are the wisdom from other people's parents that I grew up with. I so many times say that Greencastle, I was not raised in Greencastle, that Greencastle, Pennsylvania raised me, which is true. Because all the parents in Greencastle raised me and gave me direction and told me, you know, things that I should say or should not say, and so on and so forth. So, in hindsight, I'm going to wrap up the show, because we don't have to make it and draw it on any longer. But I'm just going to leave it at the final thought. We started with, we have a society without direction, motivation. They don't know what they're going to do. I was once that person. In 2000, I was that person. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I figured it out. Always keep betting on yourself, no matter what. Don't ever let somebody tell you what you should or shouldn't do, because if I went with everyone's opinion and I would have followed what people told me to do, I would have never accomplished anything in my life. Yeah, been around the world a few times. I've done a few things. I don't hang my hat on that stuff, but I'm pretty proud of what I've become, because I have pride in myself. The pride I have in myself is very tangible, and it's selfless. Something to think about. If you don't have your direction and you don't know your path or your road, don't feel bad. But if you're 35 and 40, you're capable of working, the road's right ahead of you. And don't miss your opportunity to make something of yourself. That's all I got for today. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you tomorrow.